All right, so I'm going to create a hero section for a fictional app idea or website idea from scratch while live. And this is actually pretty fun. I suggest you try to follow along and do the same thing. And the way we're going to do this is first, I found this article, 101 best app ideas that could change the world in 2021. All right, so I'm going to link this here on this page that you're watching, and you could do the same thing if you want to try to follow along, or you can follow along with exactly all the steps that I do. And what I'm going to do is choose this random number generator. We're going to use this. I'm going to put for minimum 1, and then maximum is going to be 101. So if I click generate, it's going to give me a random number between 1 and 101, and then I'm going to search for that and see what it is, and I have no clue what it will be. And so this way I put myself on the spot just to show you, once you have confidence as a designer, you really can create anything for anything. All right, so let's click generate. 85. Please be something that's not horrible. 85. Okay, I guess I'll have to scroll down here and do this myself. Oh, that's why, because it's not in actual text here. 61. Wait, what is happening? What is happening here? Well, it looks like it doesn't actually go up to 101 unless there's multiple pages. All right, I think it goes up to 60. I mean, of course it had to do this. Let's see here. 61. Let's do between 1 and 61. 42. All right. 42. On-demand gift and flowers delivery. Wait, no. That wasn't 42. Emergency alert app. There we go. Yeah, it was 42. If you're passionate about using technology in a positive way, this app idea is for you. All right. Safety has become an issue all over the world. Crime rates have gone up. Fires are also break out more and often. Such an app will alert people in the vicinity of the emergency situation about it with an alert button. This way, either they can save themselves or help the people stuck based on the type of emergency. All right, so basically some sort of just emergency alert app. All right, let's see what we can come up with. I'm going to click on the frame tool. I'm going to choose just desktop to start off. We'll choose the largest one they have, the 1440 preset. I always like kind of getting it more towards a 16 by 9, so I bring up that height a little bit. And I'm going to make the canvas background a little bit darker so we have more contrast working within this area. And here we go. So the first thing we'll do, I'm just going to come up with a fictional name for this. I'm not going to search and make sure the name doesn't exist already. This is just for practice. So we'll just call this emergency. I'm going to misspell it just to make it a little bit different. And you know what? We're not going to capitalize it. All right, so let's get this up bigger. I think we'll just use Nuneato for this, and then we'll make it bold. And let's make it red because, hey, emergency alert red. I think we'll go with that idea. I might change that though. We'll see. All right, so we have that. Again, this is not like a navigation tutorial. We already did navigation, so I'm just going to quickly get something that will work here. Let's just do 18. And we'll do black. We'll get this centered up. I'm not going to bother making these interactive because this is just a tutorial again for our hero section. Home. I'll type in download. Let's see here. Features. And we'll just put contact, something like that. Move this over. Now, one thing that's helpful, now we're getting into a more of like a layout. If we take our frame here and we go to the property inspector, layout grid. So if we add a grid, by default, it adds these little grid lines right here, these squares, but we can change this here from a grid to columns. And then we can add, let's just do, for the purpose of this tutorial, just do 8. And then let's also add a margin. So we can just hit our keyboard up arrow, and then that way we'll have something that we can align things to and also toggle on and off. All right, so right there, we'll take all of these, and I may change these up a little bit in the future, but later on in this video, but for now it's good. So now we can just hide that with the little eye icon. All right, so we have to think about trying to sell this fictional app of some sort that just allows people to click a big old button to announce an emergency of some sort. So we have to think about, how we want to lay this out, what type of hero image we want to use. And again, the image could be a photograph or an illustration. So let's first of all kind of just experiment and just see what type of images that we have available to us. We can right click and just go to Unsplash if we're interested in a potential photograph for this. So if I just type in emergency, or we could type in alert to get some other ideas, we could see what we have available to us. Now, another thing we can do instead of using this little small preview, we could also just get a new browser window and go to unsplash.com, and we can search here. And I'm going to do that just so that you can see these images a little bit fuller. So what gives us a direction in terms of emergency? This is a potentially cool photo that we might be able to use. I'm not sure. This could be considered possibly one of those unicorn photos with this kind of like area over here where you could put text on top of, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sold on that one yet. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just trying to get some general ideas in terms of what we could do. I might actually go the illustration approach too. All right. Now let's just type in alert as well to get some other ideas. All right. And again, something might, like an idea might not be sparked right away, and that's completely okay. Right now, I'm kind of in that realm where I do not see anything that is coming out at me. What if I type in something like red button? Maybe there's some type of interesting sort of that's occurring here. So like you have to ask yourself, what are other potential search terms that we could use to generate ideas that have to be relevant and pertinent to this app? Like I said, emergency, alert, you're notifying people, you're broadcasting something. So this is something that we could think about. So, like what if we type in broadcast? Yeah, again, we're getting like things that wouldn't really be relevant. So now what I'll do is I'll do a search for actual illustrations, and I have several resources for finding illustrations that are free to use. So I'm here at appydev.co/illustrations, and AppyDev is just a resource site for designers and developers alike, and they have an illustration section. All right, so these are all resources where you can find illustrations. Many of them are free, some are paid, but you can use all of these just to get ideas and possibly use illustrations for your project. So a lot of these I don't even know. So I'm just going to click on many pixels here, and these are illustrations. And of course you want to make sure that, are these really free? Make sure you look at the license information, full license text. So make sure you simply read these and make sure you actually have the ability to use them. All right. So we can type in things like alert or like emergency. Nothing here. Alert, nothing there. Sometimes you can just scroll down and see what they have to offer, and maybe there's something that would be relevant that wasn't found via searching. So again, it could take some time. I'm not going to sit here. This one's actually kind of cool. This little kind of like a spaceship coming out of a phone. Of course, it's playful, it's whimsical, and you could, along with the right headline, make this relevant to what we're trying to do. Like we're trying to send a rapid message out by clicking a button, and something has to do with an emergency. So let's just download the SVG and see how we can possibly integrate this into our hero section. So I'm going to get this off screen. I'm going to show in folder, and I'm just going to drag it into here. There we go. All right. So We're going to make this bigger, and we may end up changing colors and position and size and placement, but now that we have that there, at least we have something, and now we can start to add our important other hero section components. So we'll start with the headline. Blast out those important notifications. This might not be the best ad copy, but this is more about the design rather than the text that we're going to use. So again, you want to make sure this is nice and big. It's already bold here. The more text you have, obviously, the less it won't be able to be as large essentially. So that's something to keep in mind. I like to keep the header section or the actual headlines as few words as possible so I can make them big, nice and big. Blast out those important notifications. I don't know. Alerts made easy. There we go. I think I like that. All right, so we can even do something like that, and then, well, let's make it real large. All right, let's bring up this. Not sure if I like that. Might make more sense to have this all in one line. Let's just leave it like that for now. I may end up changing this. Now, remember, when it comes to alignment, sometimes I had mentioned in the past, you want to have things all lined up along the same, but that's not necessarily a requirement, especially like a hero section. We could stand to move this in and give it white space all around. What you don't want to do is just make it slightly in, where if I hit the ruler right here, we have one right here, and then we also have another column right here. You definitely don't want to do that. So I'm going to just push this in. Let's get ourselves a sub headline. We'll duplicate that, and we can make this, let's just start around 25 or so. So alerts made easy, and then now we can elaborate in a sentence or two based on what this is to really to address the question. Our app makes alerting the community, your community, as simple as pressing a button. Something like that. All right, so now we can bring down our line height. We can further increase the visual hierarchy by making this regular. All right. And then finally, we'll have a call to action of some sort. So our call to action, and by the way, I'm going to show you some other alternative layout ideas for this, just so you know there's other options. This one is the most typical, however. So we'll have a button here. And let's use something that we find in our, maybe instead of making that red, we'll make this. There we go. So now we're using colors that are found in the interface. Let's click here and say, let's just put in download now. All right. And of course, if this are a real app, you'd want to make actual buttons and all that stuff. I think I will do that anyhow. So what I'll do is, let's get an icon as well. So we can right click out here, plugins, we'll do a iconify, and we'll do a download. All right, so let's just do this one, drag it in. We'll make it white. Put it right there. All right, what is this size? Getting things lined up here. Just gonna group these two, and then I will, oops, I don't think it grouped it correctly, did it? Oh yeah, it did. All right, and then we could take this, and then we'll right click and choose auto layout. All right, and then we can also create a component. All right, and then we can do a hover state at least. So we'll right click, and I won't make a hover state until I'm happy with the design though. All right, so alerts made easy. Our app makes alerting your community as simple as pressing a button. All right. All right, so this is obviously a very simple example of a page, of a hero section for a landing page, essentially. I'm still not sure if I like this. Would it make sense to put everything on one line? See, this works as well. I mean, this is certainly big enough, and if we wanted to make it a little bit bigger, we could extend this out. We could also increase the visual hierarchy by making this just a little bit off black there. And this is a really simple example. And so when you go to do your challenge, I want you to do something that is simple and not try to overdo it, especially when you're first learning. Of course, we can have our other state here, the active button. And there we go. So this could be a really simple page. Now we could also experiment here. Like for instance, if we wanted to, we could right click. We can just do this. So now it kind of is pushing towards the inside, or the rocket rather is coming towards the inside of the interface rather than outside. We could also do this. This is something that is common practice as well. You can really just boost this up quite a bit, make it large, and make it really fill out the interface. So this is one option. Let's do some more options here in terms of how we can create just different layouts using this right here. So let's also let's come up with another one. How also could we create an interesting layout, something that's different? We could do possibly like everything centered and stacked in rows and no columns. Let's see if we can make that work. Might not be able to, but it's always worth just experimenting. So we could take this, and this. Let's center all those. All right, so how about let's put this over here. Let's also center that type. All right, and I'm just kind of moving things around, trying to get an idea of how I want to position things here. So this would be the type of design that you would find more commonly. Let's get these all centered up. Inside of basically like a smartphone device, something that's kind of just aligned, everything's aligned to the center and it's all stacked. So on a smartphone or even on a smaller tablet, this type of design would work much better. But I would argue when you're on a desktop, try to fill out things more so than this. As you can see, there's a lot of white space, and this is something I would say would be, in this context at least, not to do. So we could also take this and we can align it to the right. Let's see here. Well, actually, let's try to do something different than that. Let us take this app alerts. Let's do like a 2-column approach, and we'll put this to the left. And a lot of this is just experimenting. So for instance, I'll flip this. Maybe we'll put this on the bottom. So I'm just experimenting. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do here. It might make more sense to take this version and just kind of reverse what we had going on initially. And again, we could scale this down, create a version like that. So this is an option as well. So this one I'm not too happy about. I'm not sure if I really like it that much. Let's see here. We don't want it to go inside of there. Let's move this. And make sure this is inside there. And we can always get our grid back out. So if we line this one right here, and this over here, and other things that we could do. This could actually be a pretty cool layout, but I don't like the fact that there's kind of like all this space right here, and we're creating multiple columns. If we take our ruler, there's one here, there's one here, and then there's another one here defined by this area, and so it just looks a little bit very loose. So one way we can improve that is we could create sort of like a cityscape in the background that could go all the way across. It might look interesting as kind of like a watermark. Again, I'm not really sure if we have the, well, what I can do is we can kind of just create perhaps something like this, just so I can illustrate what I'm talking about. So I'll take the pen tool, we'll create just a little very simple background with these Bezier curves, and we will get rid of that stroke, and then we're going to take a fill and we'll get a color. Let's put it to the back. So let's take this element, oops, there we go, and then maybe we could grab a color here and then add some tint and also tone, some gray. Now what would make this look really cool is if this was actually like a cityscape background, just to reinforce the aspect that it's like a neighborhood. And this could possibly work. Again, I'm not too sure. What is this outline thing? There we go. You know, maybe we'll put, it might make sense to put this over here. App alerts made easy. We'll put this here, and then we could stand to also put some other information. Again, I might bring this back over here. And then something could go here. I don't just like having this here because then it's kind of empty. Although it's kind of okay with this. It's okay to have some white space. But I feel like it would be interesting to have something that goes right along this area. This is where you can also get creative with your illustrations. So I just came up with one idea. So we'll add to this illustration. So what we'll do is maybe we'll come up and create kind of like a trajectory line or arc. All right, and then what we can do is take our stroke and let's see what options that we have here. All right, so we have round end caps. and I kind of want to make it dashed. We can come out here and change this to dashed. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Maybe we'll take this right here and let's change the dash a little bit further apart. We can control the gap here. Let's see what it looks like once we get out of here. I might want to make that a little bit more higher contrast and maybe a little bit more dashes. So what we can do is come back here. Let's reduce the gap. There we go. And then what we can do is we can put an ellipse, maybe like one right, let's see, right here. We'll use the same color. And then we'll get it positioned up. And then maybe we'll just put in let's use Iconify plugins. Of course, as you can see, I'm having fun here, just experimenting. And that's part of the process, because I didn't have this project pre-planned at all. We can put alert. Maybe we'll grab this one right here. In fact, what we can do is just get rid of that and then kind of maybe just put it there. Get the eyedropper tool. I don't want to see the dashes inside of that exclamation point. Yeah, maybe something right around here. It could be just kind of like a watermark sort of thing. And so hopefully you get the point about what I'm trying to do. Again, I could experiment maybe with that color, kind of like that a little bit better. And I really like this layout actually. This is really cool. It's a little bit more unconventional because we're really utilizing the photograph a lot more. But again, this is fine as well. This is fine, and that is fine. And there's even more ideas that you could come up with to make this, a really cool layout. And that's essentially what a hero section is. It answers the what is this site about? It answers the why, which is usually typically in like a sub headline, or how it can benefit the individual. And then also giving them a direction, where to click, where should they go. And this call to action button should be prominent wherever you want them to go and very obvious.